I can no longer remain in today's Democratic Party that's under the complete control of an elitist cabal of warmongers who are driven by cowardly wokeness. Who divide us by racializing every issue and stoking anti-white racism. Who actively work to undermine our God-given freedoms that are enshrined in our Constitution, who are hostile to people of faith and spirituality, who demonize the police but protect criminals at the expense of law-abiding Americans, who believe in open borders, who weaponize the national security state to go after their political opponents, and above all, who are dragging us ever closer to nuclear war. Now, I believe in a government that's of the people, by the people, and for the people. Unfortunately, today's Democratic Party does not. Instead, it stands for a government that is of, by, and for the powerful elite. Now, I'm calling on my fellow common sense, independent-minded Democrats to join me in leaving the Democratic Party. If you can no longer stomach the direction that the so-called woke Democratic Party ideologues are taking our country, and I invite you to join me. I supported Joe Biden, and millions of other Americans voted for Joe Biden because he promised to unite us. He promised to bring us together, to end the divisiveness. Now, sadly, not only has he failed to do this, he has betrayed us all by pouring fuel on the fires of divisiveness that are tearing our country apart. Now, Biden compares those who disagree with him to racists, traitors, to enemies of bygone eras. And Biden now has his attorney general targeting millions of Americans as domestic terrorists. So if we allow this to continue, our country, the country that we love, the land of the free, the home of the brave, it'll be unrecognizable and it'll be lost forever. You are not allowed to disagree with the FBI. That is the new message. The security state will label you an extremist for daring to challenge or disagree with the regime's weaponization of law enforcement. It is yet the latest indicator about the real danger that we're facing as a society right now in this country is that this fundamental freedom guaranteed to every one of us as Americans, this freedom of speech, is being threatened. People are being intimidated. Their financial security is being threatened. They are being censored or being intimidated into censoring themselves. And the fact that this is what we're facing, that the powers that be decide, well, if we don't like the things that you're saying, then we will find a way to silence you and censor you. This is something that every single American should be afraid of, because we need to have the confidence in America that we can express ourselves, that we have the freedom to speak without the threat of punishment looming over us. That right there is literally the difference between living in a democracy or living in a dictatorship. Having a mask mandate makes no sense. These decisions are really coming from our leaders are really more about control and conformity than they are being driven by a health interest and driven by science. And we know this because even the CDC has said, hey, you know what? Unless you're wearing one of these N95 masks or KN95 masks, you're really not protected from getting COVID or spreading COVID.
You don't sound like a Democrat to me. I hereby, you can raise your right hand, you're definitely a conservative. So, anyway,
always a pleasure, Sean.